What you are about to hear is highly classified. Pay attention and listen at all times. And most importantly, remember,
love is in the air on Valentine.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now entering the Valentine's episode of Zone 4. And welcome back to the Zone. I'm Brant Fowler.
I'm still John Wilson.
I'm still Chuck Moore.
And I'm Bill Gladman.
And this is episode 256 of Zone 4. The first episode that is going to air on Comic Frontline, by the way.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it happens to be Valentine's Day as you're listening to this. So
Nice.
Cool.
4 guys on Valentine's Day. This should be interesting.
It's only slightly as pathetic as it sounds.
Hey, we're pre-recording. I'm going to
Yeah,
be
exactly.
like,
We are
pre-recording.
pre-recorded.
Right as you hear this podcast.
I don't know that.
Beer Fest.
Yeah.
Way to destroy the mystery of podcasting.
300 beers across a big hall. Anyway, yes.
That's a lot of
You
beers.
can't handle more than 250 and you know it.
I know it. Yes.
Now, last I heard, John was dragging you out of a place because you had too much.
Yeah, but that could be possible. You could really attribute that to many locations, but we'll talk about this one. So anyway, I'm so glad, though, that you guys came together to do this wonderful podcast celebrating the Olympics and tying superheroes into the Olympics. This is going to be a great topic for this week. I'm kidding.
Man, I've really got to start paying attention to these agendas I'm writing. I think I'm mistyped. Oh, no, that would be, oh, wow. We all know how I feel about the Olympics.
Now, the only thing I got
the flaming superhero.
Yeah, the only thing I'd have for that would be like the NFL superhero comic that came out, but that isn't even really.
I was about to say, is this whole episode going to be about triathlon?
There you go.
No. Actually, Bill, set
North
them
Star
straight.
was in the Olympics. He was, he was
Not just that, but Bill.
What?
Batman and the Outsiders at the Winter Olympics.
Oh, yes, there you go.
Don't tell me you don't remember.
That's
I do
awesome.
remember
Yes.
I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
That was like a throwaway joke. I wasn't mean to actually start a topic. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Now you started. Pandora's box is open.
Okay. I got
You forget this is Zone 4. We do that.
Oh, okay.
There it goes. Say something, and we'll spend the entire show talking about it and forget about our topic.
Hey, we can't forget the guy that wrote that book. It's going to be at Gym City. So, yeah, plug that. Mike W.
Absolutely.
See?
Awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to Jesse just the other day. There's a lot of exciting things kind of heading for Gym City. I'm looking forward to being at that show.
This one called Uncle Jesse, just one time.
Only if you immediately follow it up by singing the Dukes of Hazzard theme at him. Not to him, at him.
Yeah, just chase him down.
Uncle Jesse with a pair of Daisy Dukes on.
No.
No, leave those for Frank.
Yeah.
Frank, definitely.
Oh, God. All right, so before we get too far down the rabbit hole here, we should mention that we are proud members of the Comics Podcast Network. You can find us over on comicspodcasts.com every week as the new episodes go up, and Hall of Toys is on there as well, and you can check out all the other shows on their network. It's a great network, a lot of great shows, and some of the other comic-related shows are also part of that network. So
Cool. Very cool.
Segway.
All right, so we do have a sponsor this week.
Sponsor of the week.
And once again, our sponsor is Audible.com. And if you go to audibletrial.com/Zone4Podcast, you can get a free 30 man. Wow. Okay, you can get a I think I've dipped into your beer, John. You can get a free 30-day trial and a free book download. And you can find all kinds of cool stuff. And since it's Valentine's Day, I did look up a few things related to the holiday. Interesting stuff. The Valentine's Day Murder. You can listen to that.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. You have the Valentine's Day Robbery. That's spelling a good theme here. The Valentine's Day wedding dress. There you go. That's a little bit more upbeat. And all kinds of other cool stuff. Over 150,000 titles to choose from. Does anybody else have any Audible recommendations?
Do they have anything on the Valentine's Day Massacre?
You would think with the other two titles that
It would be. No. Well, there's the standards around my house right now. We're working our way through the Game of Thrones books for the first time, and that's kind of good. And I know that's available on Audible. Also, I was recently enjoying history. It's called Duke: A History of the Life of Duke Ellington, which has been something I've been kind of fascinated by lately. So those are two Audible recommendations from the world of Audible, which is really cool. I mean, I gotta throw this out there. Do you know if you have a book on your Kindle and you have it on Audible and you stop reading on your Kindle, it'll pick right up in the audiobook, and when you stop in the audiobook, it'll pick right back up on the digital edition?
Oh, wow.
Is that cool or what?
That is pretty cool.
It's kind of a hip thing to do, I thought.
And I do have to add, though, Game of Thrones, wow. I start off with Valentine's murder and robbery, and you go to Game of Thrones, which is like the bloodiest love story in the world.
It's apropos.
Very true. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We're going to cover that later in the show.
Okay.
A news story about the guy that played, what's his name, Sean Ben, or the guy that played Ned Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in a bar fight, like, last night, and got outside in the bar, and the guy actually stabbed him.
Oh, my
Beat
God.
the guy up, went back in, and ordered a drink.
Well, yeah, after being stabbed in that, you need a drink.
Yeah. Yes, there you go. That is worthy.
I mean, hey, Sean Bean always dies, so.
And he gets killed in every movie he plays in, but he's a badass in real life. He's like, that's not a nice.
Well, you can't kill him the same way every time, so.
That's true.
That's
yeah.
true.
He's been
wow.
stabbed.
Okay, so he's the dad off from the. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I didn't realize which character he was. Okay.
Yeah, he's had his head chopped off. Spoiler alert. He's
on a pike right next to Stan Lee's.
Yeah. He's been shot full of arrows.
Uh-huh.
So big ass arrows.
Yeah.
God.
Economy-sized arrows.
Which don't fly very well, but they're real neat to look at.
I don't know. Do you guys watch Game of Thrones at all?
I do.
Yes.
See, I just watched the first episode. Those opening credits are some of the most beautiful visual, like digital, the way it kind of goes through the map and and the city rises. I've never seen anything that looks quite that spectacular for an opening sequence. I mean, forget the rest of the series. That just blew me away. I could watch it on repeat over and over again.
HBO's openings, they're always awesome.
Yeah, I was about to say, Google the opening to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
The series of Rome.
Yep.
Okay.
Very much the same.
Yep.
Nice. Very nice. Cool.
Yeah. You're watching True Detective right now on HBO.
I have not.
Chuck, you got to watch that. Man. As much as I love Games of Thrones, True Detective is a show right now that I get pissed off every time it ends. It's like, no, I want more right now.
Now, Chuck, I'm not going to spoil anything Game of Thrones. I know you're reading the books or listening to the books too, but when you get to the Red Wedding episode, talk to me.
Okay, got it.
I want to hear your thoughts.
I heard the crinkles across Twitter and across the internet when that aired for people, I guess, who hadn't read the book and didn't realize what was coming. Okay.
Yeah, my jaw dropped.
Dove under a chair.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Speaking of TV shows, though,
Segway!
I did want to bring up this show because Bill actually liked the last episode of this show, which is unusual. So I know you're like way behind, Chuck. So we'll try not to spoil.
Oh no, spoil away. I don't tend to remember things when I get to them, so don't worry about it.
Okay. So the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. aired last week before going on hiatus during the Olympics, and it was the Stan Lee episode. It's called Tracks. It all took place on a train. Bill, you actually liked this episode.
Hell yeah, Sky got shot twice.
Yes. Oh, come on.
Yes.
That's my favorite character.
She won't die.
Is that the little
I don't want her to die. I'm beginning to like her. I'm beginning to like the show. But, you know why I liked it so much. Deathlock.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that was a lame, Stan Lee.
It was.
Yeah, it was.
It was pitiful.
It was, sadly.
Yeah. But we should throw a plug, by the way, to John's Twitter,
Yes.
While we're talking about S.H.I.E.L.D., I mean, for anybody who doesn't know, John is live tweeting every episode. It is the official live tweet of Comic Related. So join in on the fun. And John, what's your Twitter handle?
It's John W. Comics Guy.
There you go.
Or at John W. Comics Guy. And per instructions by Clark Gregg, I do not spoil when I live tweet.
Nice.
I make references. I'll make asides, but I do not spoil when I live tweet.
Oh, because you're East Coast and they're West?
Right.
That's
per
interesting.
specific instructions, per specific request by Clark Gregg.
Clark Gregg.
That's pretty freaking awesome, actually.
Yeah, and it's also pretty awesome because, like, Me-Na and Clark and all of them, they retweet John all the time. They come.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I made McNaw save balls.
Yeah. Yeah, and she laughed about it, too. Like,
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah. No, I haven't been, you guys know, I haven't been blown away by the series. I'm still watching it, but I'm wanting more of the big Marvel feel in there. I feel like there's a lot of characters that aren't tied up in the movie franchises they could play with to kind of play more to the geek boys and the geek girls. Well, and I don't think we're seeing that. And I know the Deathlock thing is pretty cool, and I think you guys have said once they came back from the break, they've been kind of playing more into that, and I'm still pre-break in what I've been watching, so.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, Sif from Thor is coming up in an episode soon.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't be a good...
John Garrett. There you go, there's no one.
Paxton's going to be awesome in it. I like Paxton. But I can't be really a good judge because it's only been within the last couple of months that I actually saw the Avengers movie, so...
Thor 2 was awesome, by the way. I know you haven't seen that yet.
No, I want to, definitely.
It was really good.
Yeah, the kids really...
That comes out on Blu-ray like the 25th. So.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Very sweet.
Yeah. And, no, I mean, I think I've always liked the show, but I think it has gotten better over the second half of the episodes that we've seen so far. I think it's finding its feet, and I think that's why Bill's starting to like it, because it's actually starting to come into its own. Yeah.
It's a slow build. It's not one of those shows that people wanted it to explode out of the box like Avengers did.
Sure.
But
if you think about it, Avengers didn't. It was a slow build over 5 years leading up to it, so.
Well, yeah, true, but, even, if you look at singular movies, they all tend to have some big set piece at the beginning.
Right, that's true.
But, people tend to forget it's a series. They're playing the slow game. They're playing the short game. They're playing the long game, I meant to say, not short game.
I wish we knew what
they're looking to build rather than shoot their whole wad off in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. What'd you say, Bill?
What was that, Bill?
I don't know what game John is playing. He has me confused.
It's long, short, medium, what?
John is playing the Game of Thrones. That's what he's
I was going to say that. He'd be
We're all going to die by the end of this episode.
You never know who's next. Chuck's already gotten quiet.
Maybe not even that long.
Exactly. I'm now only 4 foot tall, so I will survive all.
Another thing about the series is this: they have been repeating episodes that lead up to developments that are going on right now, and I'm watching those. And I have to say, watching them for a second time, I appreciate them more. And now that I know the pacing and know what to expect, and I do catch details on this the first time because Frank's over here usually getting drunk and saying things, and I can't hear the TV. So I'm actually enjoying the repeats in the first half of the season a little bit. So.
You got to turn on the closed captioning.
Yes.
But, I mean, I think it's interesting stuff that they're playing into, and the Deathlock stuff, and I hope that they do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
Coming up. Yeah. This last episode was fantastic, though.
Good. I'm really glad to hear it.
The revelation of the identity of the clairvoyant, and that's going to tie in very strongly with the Thor movies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Yeah. I got to admit, early on when they stopped the hole in the plane with the inflatable bloat, I almost never came back to the series. But, that is my Indiana Jones in the refrigerator moment for the series. But I forgave it and stuck around.
Yeah, a lot of people had a problem with that.
Yeah, you have to you have to really look at the character building in this right now. Like, if you pay particular attention to, especially in this last episode, with May and how she reacted when she saw Coulson laying on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
and when she checked his pulse and found that he was still alive. Spoiler alert for people, but not really a spoiler. He's obviously alive. The series is continuing, but when it looked as if he,
I don't know. This is Sweden.
Yeah, this is true. May have been injured and harmed, that the look of just like, oh, thank God, on her face. And that's not something you normally see in May. May is the, tough as nails, kick ass and forget to take names type. But she's really starting to reveal those little inner character traits. And she's doing it very subtly, which, says a lot about Ming-Na's abilities as an actress. It's just, she does a lot of look acting.
Yeah.
Like, she says a lot with just like a look or a tilt of her head or something like that, where anybody else would have to fill it with words.
Right.
Yeah. I love the part, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but I love the part on the train where Ward's like, we got to talk to Coulson about this, about what's going on with him. And she's like, he was fine when I told him. Just walks out the window, and he's like, what?
I got to admit, I am eager to jump on any detail that falls back to the old first couple episodes, which I didn't care for. And when they first found that Jeep and it was running, it's like, oh, how convenient is this? This is pretty stupid. And then they explained how that happened. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Very nice. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what... I hate one-and-dones. I like a series that builds. And I was getting too much of a one-and-done feel in the early days of this. And also the characters... I'm glad to hear that they're growing and coming alive, because I thought, man, this is a Whedon series. He's always been so character-driven and so massively detailed in his layered textures of the personalities. And I just felt like that was completely missing here. And I did see it more in those last few episodes I watched, and I am looking forward to kind of jumping into where we're headed, because if we're beginning to see that, I think you could really have something special here. But it's boy, they asked a lot to hang with this long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This most recent episode, Chuck, is one where they use that technique where they rewind and show things from each character's perspective.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So it was really well done.
Cool.
Yeah, and also with this, I think the producers have even said or realized, that they may have made a mistake playing it slow, and they did say that they are going to up the wow factor a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think people will be very happy and surprised with how well they still managed to balance it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of see this whole thing being a balancing act, and I think that they'd be dumb to suddenly become, hero of the week or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if they still keep that nice balance, but, feed in a little bit more Marvel for people.
Yeah.
Like Bill.
Like Bill.
I mean, at least, it doesn't have to be, like, plot-centric. I mean, just let me see Lockjaw standing in the background or something. Just something that just you're going to go, oh, my God, I can't believe they threw that in,
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that was what was missing. I felt they had so much potential, Stilt Man walking across the background, for no apparent reason, just something.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you consider, at least in modern-day Marvel, S.H.I.E.L.D. does deal with a lot of superhumans, and we've mainly seen them dealing with another organization throughout this series.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think their big mistake is the fact that they didn't make Centipede either AIM or Hydra right off the bat.
Yeah. No, if they go anywhere near Manhattan, these superheroes are subletting to each other. There's so many on that island. Come on.
I like the development of the character Ian Quinn, too. I mean, when he first popped up, I thought he was going to be one of those one-and-done villains, and now he's becoming a major player.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when's it returning, John?
March 4th.
After the Olympics, March 4th.
Cool. Gotcha. That's a long wait.
I'm
You know,
okay
they
with that. 'Cause
deliberately.
I get the Olympics the whole time in between. I'm okay with that.
Right. No, they deliberately said they were avoiding. I mean, even though it's not on their network.
Yeah, it's still smart.
Yeah. The producer's also one of the people that tweets during the show, and she said we're doing this deliberately to avoid the Olympics.
Yeah, it would kill their ratings. Yeah.
Yeah, Arrow's doing the same thing. You know, almost
it's smart.
And even it's not the Olympics, but when the Super Bowl was on, there was no new episode of True Detective that night. You got to know what you're up against.
Yeah, exactly.
But everybody's gotten smart.
Well, except for one. One series debuted. Same weekend as the Olympics. Walking Dead is back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it beat the Olympics too, which kind of makes me sad for mankind.
Well, when you have
sad for mankind is that it tied the Beatles 50-year television.
When you have a show as popular as Walking Dead with as many viewers as it gets, I mean, they don't have anything to worry about. That's the thing with that. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Arrow, they're not quite at that level. So,
yeah,
whether you like it or not.
When you look at Mad Men, Sons of Anarchy, you know, Breaking Bad, Walking Dead, soon to be The Preacher. I mean,
Lost, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, AMC has enough to just. I mean, they got big balls out on the table. I mean, they got no problem saying that we can do this. We've got nothing to fear. You know,
right.
They're the new HBO. They just have hit after hit after hit, and it appeals to a very genre crowd.
I wish they were HBO because I still think Walking Dead's watered down and diluted. I mean, if you're reading the story now, you wouldn't be able to do half the stuff they're doing on PG-13 based commercial television. So,
They still do push the envelope quite a bit compared to other television shows though.
Yeah, but it's still fairly
Well, we're not going to see any babies get shot in the head. You're right.
Well, yeah, of course, but it's that kind of thing. That's kind of been my problem with it from day one, other than the fact zombies. But the fact that it is kind of sanitized zombieism. Right. It's very sanitized from the source material.
Very much so.
I mean, they push the envelope, but it's a pretty flimsy envelope to begin with.
Right.
And then the book itself really does a great job of dealing with a story that isn't really about the zombies. While the TV show caters a little too much to everybody that's tuning in to just want to see zombies get their head cut off.
Right, exactly.
I do agree with that, but I mean, I don't know. I enjoy the show for what it is, which is something I don't view it as anymore as an extension of the book. I just view it as the same characters in a similar setting doing their own thing. It's just
I just can't wait till everybody realizes that Rick really died in the hospital and this is just a fever dream.
Yeah. Or he shows up in the shower later or something.
This kind of brought up an interesting
point. Or in bed
point.
with Bob Newhart. He's going to wake up with
Exactly.
Bob
Newhart. Keep dragging us back to Game of Thrones. This kind of brought up an interesting point. George R.R. Martin still has 2 books he hasn't even written, and he took 5 years to get the last one out. Mm-hmm. I mean, this series is intensely popular. So where do they go when they run out of source material? And do they stop and wait 5 years until Martin puts out his next book? Or, I'm kind of curious to see how they handle it.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Same thing with Walking Dead. They're halfway through season 4 and they haven't even left Atlanta yet. Jesus Christ, it's going to take them 15 seasons to get to where the book is right now.
Oh, well, I thought the governor had already shown up. Is he supposedly in Atlanta or something?
No. Yeah, he showed up. Yeah, they've already encountered him and.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
But they kind of moved him to Atlanta to fit.
That's kind of sad. Okay.
Yeah, I think the same with Game of Thrones. They're following the books, but they're not religious to the books,
With Game of Thrones, since I haven't read them, where in the books is it in the series, if that makes sense?
book 3, isn't it, John?
Book 3?
Oh God, I haven't read them all, but
I haven't read any.
Yeah, I think so. I think my wife said they were around book 3.
Wow. So how many books are there?
Yeah, my wife has read them all.
Yeah, I believe the Red Wedding is the end of book 2, or maybe the beginning of book 3. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Frank, when he starts talking about it, I just have to tell him to shut up because he doesn't tell me way too much stuff.
And how many books are there?
5 right now.
5? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So they're going through them pretty fast then.
And then there's supposed to be 2 more, as Chuck said. There's supposed to be 2 more coming.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Mm.
Interesting. Very interesting. We'll see.
But
yeah.
they have an agreement with HBO that the woman who actually adapts the books for the series has had a meeting with Martin, and there is an agreement that if Martin never finishes the book for whatever reason, she has the liberty to go ahead and end it the way she thought it would end. A lot of people are concerned with his health. He's not the healthiest guy in the world.
Right.
Yeah,
I'd heard that.
So.
Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So, there we go. Television. How's that?
Yeah. Nice way to kick off the show. Valentine's Day, talking about death and murder.
Well, death, murder, it kind of all goes together.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Al Capone did it. Why can't we?
Bloody Valentine's Day.
Comic book headlines.
But we do have a few comic book headlines to discuss as well.
No, we don't.
Oh, we do, Bill. I know you're not happy, but yeah. Okay, so Shang-Chi, or it's Shang-Chi, right?
It is Shang-Chi.
Okay. Shang-Chi is getting his own mini-series this May called The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. And
How could you be sad about that, Bill?
I know.
How can I be sad? Well, can I elaborate?
Feel free.
You can elaborate
The floor is yours.
in just 1 second. I do want to mention that right now Shang-Chi can be seen in Avengers World. He's part of the Avengers team, and he's one of the little teams that's going off and dealing with this or that. So, anyway.
Well, who isn't part of the Avengers then?
I know.
Honestly.
I just wanted to give a little background of where the character is right now. So.
Last time I seen Shang-Chi was in Secret Avengers, written very well by Ed Brubaker.
Mm-hmm.
But you read that storyline, didn't you, Grant?
I did.
Yes. So what bothers me, first of all, Shang-Chi is one of my favorite characters ever, as you well know, when you sent me this story and this news feed. But it kind of insults me in a way that they only can give the guy 4 issues. I mean, I would be much more exciting if they announced an ongoing, even though it would only make it past issue 12 before nobody would pick it up and then get canceled, unfortunately. But the fact that this is written by the same guy that wrote a Deadpool book makes me want to stab a cat. I mean, it's just, and if you see the cover of the first issue, it's Bruce Lee's jumpsuit from Game of Death. And there's the word game again popping up in our podcast. But in depth, there we go again. But anyway, there's nothing original about this promotion for this limited series, and the talent tied to it is pretty dismal. So yeah, I'm not very excited. That's pretty much my 2 cents.
Okay.
So,
Wow. I think they're really trying to tie the Bruce Lee feel into him. I mean, the variant cover for Avengers World number 3, which comes out I think it comes out this week.
it's like a theme park.
No. But it's an homage to a Bruce Lee image, and he looks very much like Bruce Lee in that. So I think they're really trying to push that.
It's kind of insulting, actually, to anybody that knows anything about Bruce Lee or Shang-Chi. I mean, Master of Kung Fu has nothing to do with Jeet Kune Do.
True.
Very good point, John. Very good point.
Very true.
Yeah, 2 different things. I mean, that's kind of like lumping, that's kind of like saying, all the Asians are the same, or all the martial arts systems are the same. It doesn't matter. Just throw him in a yellow jumpsuit with blood on it. Who cares?
Yeah, I see that point. I don't know. I like the way he's written in Avengers World. I like the way they're handling him there, so I'm gonna stay cautiously optimistic for this.
I like the way they wrote him in Heroes for Hire.
Yeah.
He wasn't bad.
Actually, I haven't read Avengers World, so but I really like the way they did him in Heroes for Hire.
Gotcha. Have you read anything with him lately, Chuck? Chuck? Is Chuck with
has
us?
left the building.
I think George Martin has killed Chuck.
That's right.
He's the first to fall. Okay, so I guess we'll catch up with Chuck if he comes back, because he's showing still on the line for me. But anyway, I'm not.
I miss
Huh?
about Shang-Chi the most is he has such a intense supporting cast of characters, and even when you get him in something like Heroes for Hire or Secret Avengers, that cast of characters is over. I mean, what made this Master Kung Fu series so strong in its day, it did capitalize off the martial arts mania that was going on at the time, but it blended also well with the James Bond mania that was going on. So you had the spies and the martial arts all in the same book, drawn by Paul Galusi and Mike Zeck and written by Doug Monique. So how can you go wrong? You just don't have the same elements no more.
Bill, I will say this writer, Mike Benson, he wrote a run of Moon Knight.
Well, another character's been ruined for years.
True.
Yeah.
Well, this was back in 2008, so I don't know if it was good then or not. I don't remember. But, yeah. Just saying.
Was it the Vengeance of Moon Knight?
It just says Moon Knight. Number 14 through something. I don't know.
Oh, right before Book of Campbell.
Yeah. He also wrote a one-shot called Deadpool Games of Death, which I did read, and it was absolutely horrid. So now I'm scared.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, you disappeared on me.
I'm right here.
Chuck's there.
I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all good. Have you read anything with Shang-Chi lately at all?
I've read certainly his appearances in the Avengers. I mean, I do like that, as they kind of brought together this larger team, he's been kind of the contemplative mentor character to a lot of the teams. Like when they need something to work out, something almost psychological, he's been the go-to guy, kind of like, okay, if we got something magic, we go to Doctor Strange. If we got somebody who's kind of cracking up and needs to focus a little bit, we go to the Master Kung Fu. And they haven't really put him into action recently. He's been more of kind of background character. And I haven't read any of the Avengers World stuff. I'm about 4 or 5 months back, but for the most part, I've enjoyed what they've been doing with him, but it has certainly been a different treatment of the character. He's much less action oriented. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think in Avengers World they're on Madripoor. He's with Wolverine and a couple others, and yeah, and they're battling the Hand. So it's kind of
so he's back to more traditional rendering.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I like about it.
Yeah,
and not to spoil anything, but there's like a secret behind Madripoor that pops out in that issue that is really, really cool to me. Anyway, I don't know if you guys want me to spoil it or not. So.
Oh, yeah, spoil it. I'll never read it.
Spoil away.
Okay.
No problem.
No, I know you won't, Bill. The entire island of Madripoor turns out to be housed on the back of a sleeping dragon, and the dragon rises up. Yeah, no, it's actually cool the way it plays out. So I liked it.
And Logan never smelled that dragon the whole time.
I still like it. I think it's cool.
If they destroyed the island in the end, or it did get put back to where Madripoor has always been one of my favorite places in the Marvel universe. I loved the kind of Logan as when he was, that Wolverine. When he was Patch in that era, that was one of my favorite reads of the Wolverine time. So I hope it's
stuff that Marvel Comics presents. Once it went into Wolverine's own series, I lost a little momentum, but in the Marvel Comics, that stuff was really good.
Yeah, I mean, even the little girl robot and the robot Wolverine all through that period, I still really enjoy those stories.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I get that too. I like Madripoor too. I think it was cool the way that it played out in that.
Cool. I approach with an open mind.
Oh, yeah, I mean, and it hasn't been resolved yet, so that they kind of left that on a cliffhanger with issue 2, so I don't know what happens next. It comes out. Cool. Yeah, it came out today, actually. So.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Excuse me. All right, so moving off from Shang-Chi, we have another news story from Valiant. Valiant First Initiative launches Valiant's next phase with Rye #1 coming this May.
Mm-hmm.
And
one part of this makes me very excited, and I was tweeting with I think she's the writer of it this morning. They're finally bringing back Dr. Mirage.
yeah,
Excellent. I was just going to ask if they're ever going to get. I loved the original character.
yeah. What they're doing is every month from May through September, they're releasing a brand new title. You have Rye in May. You have Armor Hunters in June, which is spinning out of Exo-Man of War.
Mm-hmm.
You have Armor Hunters Bloodshot, which may be a one-shot, I'm not sure. Armor Hunters Harbinger in July. Delinquents, which is teaming up Quantum and Woody with Archer and Armstrong. And then finally in September, Dr. Mirage.
Dr. Mirage, yes.
So.
Nice. I have to say, I mean, if anybody read that 7 days of Valiant that I did earlier, well, in 2013 at some point, I love the new Valiant universe, and I'm really excited to see this thing grow. I think they've done a great job of surpassing what the legacy that they had to work with. I consider the books that are coming out now from Valiant to be superior to the original stories in a lot of ways.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and I love the originals. I still have all of them out in the collection out there, but these are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited about Rye, even though I never really got into him per se in the original Valiant, but I don't know. I'm kind of intrigued by this. I love like you. I love everything that they've done with the new Valiant, and the way they've kind of made these characters. I don't know. They've don't want to say
more human.
Yeah, they're more human. They're more grounded, more based in reality kind of thing, and it's just they have a lot more character to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
This is at Marvel and DC. I mean, I try and stay up with just to be kind of current with the modern comics, but Valiant is right there. That's my third tier, and I as soon as I get room, I always work those in, and even before I get to a lot of my indie titles. And I let them build up a little bit so that I get a nice patch of them. But I just love the interplay and how it feels like a cohesive universe. I really respect that. You don't get that in a lot of independent publishers.
Exactly, and I totally agree. They're my number 3 as well. And I will say Image is putting out a lot of good stuff these days.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Valiant is just, I love that cohesive universe thing. That's one of the reasons I got really behind CrossGen, because I like that.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. That'll pull me in every time. Yeah,
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Me too.
And even to the smaller degree, like Terry Moore's different books, how they all exist in a similar universe with each other. You know, once you add that element to it, it adds so much to a comic story for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And this isn't one of our headlines, but I have to bring this up because I saw this not too long before we started recording. Speaking of cohesive tie-in titles and stuff like this, this one doesn't really fit that bill, but it was a very interesting crossover that's coming in May from Image. They're doing a crossover, Chuck, between Chew and Revival. And
I'm not familiar with Revival,
right.
So what's the premise there?
Revival, I'm way behind on it, but from what I remember, basically all these characters, it starts with one girl, and people start coming back to life, but it's not like they're zombies. It's like there's some kind of weird thing going on in this little town in the middle of nowhere. And
Is that like the television series that's starting up?
I don't know.
Resurrection, yeah. There's a series like that has a similar concept where, like the guy's kid who died 30 years ago suddenly comes back, hasn't aged a bit, and is walking right into the living room.
Yeah, that is exactly like it, actually.
Yeah.
Somebody ripped somebody off. But, no, this is I think it's by Tim Seeley and Mike Norton, maybe?
Oh, nice.
I think.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, good God, I'm embarrassed. I should know that if it's Tim. Okay, I'm a little behind the curve here.
Yeah. Let me verify.
Tim Seeley, a guest at Derby City Comic Con.
Exactly. Yeah, it is by Tim Seeley. Trying to verify the artist. Pretty sure it's Image's site loads like crap. It's so slow.
I love the premise behind Chew. I mean, the detective that has to basically eat to get the memories. But yeah,
right.
That'd be an interesting twist between the two.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. Yeah,
because I would take that the one is kind of serious and Chew certainly isn't really.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Revival's very serious. Yeah, I mean it's Tim Seeley, so well, I mean he kind of goes in between, but yeah, this one is very serious. But it's Mike Norton on the art. Yeah, definitely. So that should be
nibble on these people that find out how they came back to life.
Yeah, probably.
I guess so.
So now I have to plug here just a little bit. Tim Seeley, of course, guest at Derby City Comic Con, and I'm announcing in a day or two Mike Norton also a guest at Derby City Comic Con. So there you go.
Awesome.
There you go. They can have a revival panel right there.
There we go.
Revival and Chew panel right there at the show.
Well, it kind of makes sense. I mean, the two guys share a studio. They basically share.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, and they do Revival. So there you go. You really need to read that before Derby City.
Yeah, I don't know how that kind of slipped past my radar. I mean, I got to admit, Image, I pay good attention, but it's kind of like titles grab me and I miss titles. I'm constantly finding stuff at Image that I just somehow has slipped under my radar, and then I pick it up and I'm like, how the hell haven't I known about this? So I think it's either I gravitate towards the more broader universe like we were talking about, or Image just sends out so many damn press releases I can't keep up with everything.
Well, it's a thing with, where Valiant is so cohesive. Image tends to be so uncohesive.
Yeah.
Or incohesive, whatever's the proper word.
And more than that, there was that period where I really don't feel like there was a lot really that struck me coming out of Image, and I was trained for the better part of a decade almost to ignore them.
Yeah,
for a large part, and I'm still having trouble getting back in. I mean, no disrespect to the company, and I know they're doing phenomenal things, and everything I pick up, I'm digging that's coming from there. But getting myself back in the habit of paying attention when it's such a heavy comic market is tough for me sometimes.
Yeah, so. I mean, I agree with that. I think aside from a few select titles, really up until the past maybe 2 or 3 years. It was kind of like a wasteland there. It was like most of the stuff that they produced, just, at least for me personally, I mean, I'm sure there's other people out there that have enjoyed a lot of their past stuff, but...
we'll get letters, but,
Yeah. For me personally, it's just, a lot of their stuff was just not very good, but these past 2 or 3 years, they've been bringing in a lot of new books. I mean, I look over the solicitations every month, and there's like 5, 6 brand new books every single month. And, a lot of it's quality stuff, so...
Yeah.
A lot of it has to do with Robert Kirkman and how he influenced that company, of course, Walking Dead 10 years ago.
Right, exactly, yeah. I do want to say one thing from this press release about the Revival Chew. Chew artist Rob Guillory, he said, honestly, even I was shocked how well the two titles gelled together.
Yeah, because awesome. You wouldn't think that'd be the case at all.
No, not at all. No. So that should be interesting. All right, so... the final headline... go ahead.
I still say he's going to end up with a toe in his mouth, though.
He probably will. He probably will.
Yeah, while we're on the topic of Image Comics, I do want to shout out one that I just absolutely love. For anybody that's not reading 10 Grand, that's one of my favorite series in comics right now.
I've never read that.
10 Grand coming out of Image. It is, Decapitated Dan pointed it out to me as a worthy successor to Hellblazer when Constantine went mainstream, and he's absolutely right. It has a lot of the feel, but it also has a certain heroic attempt at redemption quality in there that is beautiful. The art is just killer. It's weird, but I love it. And as far as the Image goes, that's the one I pretty much love every month.
Is that Straczynski?
Yeah, it's coming. Well, it's out of his line, his imprint. I'm not sure if he's actually doing it. I forget who's actually behind it. Let me see here. As I'm acting like I know everything. Yes, writer-creator. Straczynski, okay. Yes. Ben Templesmith is behind the art. So you know the feel it's going to have.
Yeah. That's interesting because, for me, Straczynski's a very hit-and-miss kind of writer. And a lot of his stuff I just can't get into, but every once in a while there'll be something I just really love, like Supreme Power, or I know a lot of people love his Thor run, stuff like that.
With Straczynski, I honestly think it's better when he stays away from the mainstream.
Yeah.
And kind of does his own thing.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to, because I just read another new book that he writes. The first issue came out last week, and it actually made my number 2 of my top 5. which is Apocalypse Owl, and it's another Image title.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so...
I never heard of that.
I haven't heard that one either.
Yeah, it was the first issue, so...
How do you keep up with these? Man, there's so many. Anyway.
I do solicitations.
That's true. That's why you keep up with them. Okay, gotcha. Good point.
But, yeah, so it was really good. It surprised me because, again, like I said, it's Straczynski, so I was kind of iffy about it. And, you know, the concept was like this, I don't know, it's like Tomb Raider meets Indiana Jones meets Supernatural meets I don't know what else. But it's kind of like this female lead that fights all these, like, world-threatening supernatural forces. And she gets pulled into different realms and all this stuff, and it's crazy and adventurous, but it was really good.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. All right, so the last headline I had was John Wesley Shipp has been cast for an unknown role, or a mysterious, unannounced role, I should say, for the Flash TV series. And for anybody that does not know who John Wesley Shipp is, he is the guy that played the Flash in the 1990s television series. So.
He was going to play Kelly on Young and the Restless.
Yeah, wasn't he also Dawson's dad on Dawson's Creek or something?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, but he is the original Flash for TV.
Yeah.
He was the original Flash. He's also one of the first to sport the ever unpopular muscled bodysuit.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, true.
Although that TV show was not that bad.
No, the TV show was great. I miss Amanda Pays. I wonder where she went. You know, she was on two big...
Trickster was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two big genre shows of that era, The Flash and Max Headroom. She was on both, and then sort of dropped off the planet. So, kind of wonder where she is.
But,
interesting. You know, given his face structure and the fact that he's got a little bit of age on him, you know, he could almost make a really cool Golden Age Flash.
I was about to say, get out of my head, dude. That was the same thing.
so Jay Garrick, you're thinking?
Hey,
Jay Garrick, totally.
Interesting.
And he's just got the look. I'm looking at a picture of him now, and he looks like Jay Garrick to me. But anyway.
Yeah, could be.
He looks like John Schneider looks now, you know, like, he could be whom?
Max Mercury.
Max Mercury.
Oh, there you go, Max Mercury, that'd be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw somebody post on Facebook, I can't remember who it was, a friend of mine said, it'd be interesting if they went against type and cast him as Captain Cold.
Yeah.
I would love to see him as a villain. I think that would be great if he was a villain.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
Somebody older, though, like...
Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Reverse Flash or Alec Kadabra or even The Top or something like that. You know, somebody older.
Yeah. Honestly,
Boomerang.
One theory out there I hope is not true because it would just be a bit part kind of thing. Some people are thinking maybe he's Barry Allen's dad, who is, if he...
Oh, that ran off? Yeah.
Yeah, that ran off or is dead. He ran off because his mother was murdered. Yeah, that's right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I'm kind of hoping that's not the case because that would mean he's just going to appear once in a blue moon. So.
Right.
They're replaying the Arrow episode that introduces Barry Allen tomorrow night. So I've missed it. I want to check it out and see how it goes. I'm excited about the Flash.
Yeah.
I'm not so excited about Arrow, but I'm excited about the Flash.
He still skews awfully young for me, but, you know, I'm tentatively excited about the series.
Yeah. If I mean, obviously they tied it into the world in Arrow a little bit, and, you know, at the end of that arc, they kind of veered off into their own direction, but, you know, he fits in that kind of world.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because Arrow's
images of what's supposed to be his costume, too, pop up on Facebook and stuff. I don't know how actual these images are, but the costume that's being shown looks very nice, very interesting.
I think I know what you're talking about, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that was, it turned out to be fake. Okay. But it did look really cool. Yeah, I thought it was really cool, so who knows.
What's really weird is that it was complete bodysuit like Spider-Man. There was no open mask like you used to see with Barry or Wally.
Yeah, that was a little different.
Yeah, that's not a good thing because that tends to fall in. He starts to fall into that You remember when they had that supposed Flash from the future, John Fox or whatever he was? You know, it tends to fall in those kind of way out there on the side character things, and it's like, you know, this is kind of your problem, DC, is that you keep making these changes to iconic characters, and that's why nobody gets on board with them. So
but then again,
trying to screw it up.
Then again, with given the way that the character, the actor that's playing Barry Allen looks, it might be better to put the mask on him to make him look more superhero. Adult. He
looks like
great.
Wally. I'm sorry, he'd be a great Wally West. But
I haven't seen the Arrow episodes. I have seen pictures of this actor, and I agree. He would be a great Wally. He'd be a great Wally. You need someone a little bit older to be Barry.
I don't know. I liked his portrayal in Arrow.
I liked the kid. Yeah, I mean, I liked him a lot. You know, it's cute how he's flirting with you know, not supposed to be in the series girl. Has no place in the comics girl. I can't think of her name. But
one.
Yeah, indeed. But no, the one that actually knows the secret, his oracle, essentially.
Felicity Smoke.
Yeah, Felicity Smoke. Which sounds like, you know, a really bad porn name.
She actually is a character in the comics.
Actually, it sounds like a pretty good porn movie.
Wait, is it like in the recent comics?
It does.
Those don't count.
I don't know, but I've looked her up before, and she was...
If she's in the New 52, it doesn't count.
Oh, she was from New Earth.
Okay, well, that's close to not counting, but
okay.
I don't know, man. As we settled into New 52, I actually like it better than old DC.
No way.
Blasphemer. How many of those Sam Adams have you had?
There are elements I like better, and there are elements I like less. So it depends on the character, I guess, for me. Aquaman's so much better than New 52. I'm sorry.
Very much so, yeah. I will completely stand behind you on that one.
Yeah. Batman is the same, so you can't really...
Well, yeah. He's not even in the New 52 universe.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, you know.
Well, every time you try to change Batman, he beats you up and says, I'm fine the way I am.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shout out to one that surprised the heck out of me, though, in the New 52 is the Swamp Thing series. Not the way it started, I hated it. I refused to read it. The most recent 4 or 5 issues have been some of the best Swamp Thing I have read since the Alan Moore days.
Dude. I haven't read the most recent stuff, but I hated, like you, I absolutely hated the beginning of that series.
And I love Swamp Thing.
But I got the Volume 3 trade, and it was the crossover with Animal Man, the whole Dot World thing. Yeah. I actually like that.
Yeah, and the stuff that's come after where they went after Cedar, and it turns out to be the Floronic Man, and that whole kind of new take on it, and the kind of contest between the two of them for the right to be the champion of the green, which, spoiler everybody, Swamp Thing loses, is just a phenomenal story. The art is incredible, and it has the old style that Alan Moore brought to the character that I haven't seen in years, and I can't herald that enough. As an old school Swamp Thing fan who was there for every issue of Alan Moore's as it hit the newsstands, I can't say enough about the current issues of Swamp Thing.
There is one other New 52 book that I actually embrace. It's Red Hood and the Outlaws. I didn't want to like it, but it took me out in an alley and beat me up and made me like it.
Well, that does bridge well into our best couples or best trios discussion for Valentine's Day.
It does.
So, I am nothing if not made for the segue.
Segue!
So let's jump right into topic time.
Given the odd polyamorous nature of that time. No.
Yeah, indeed.
Very true. Topic time! It's topic time.
So go continue, John.
No, that's all I had. Actually.
Oh, okay.
No.
Show's over.
Honestly, no. To be serious. Well, I didn't want to like this new take on Starfire at all. Because it made no sense to me why she has absolutely no short-term memory whatsoever. that she could so easily forget, hey, I had this long, drawn-out relationship with Dick Grayson for a long time. And then suddenly it was like, who?
Mm-hmm.
Who is this Dick Grayson person you speak of?
It's,
No, the thing I really like most about it is, one, it washed away all that ridiculous crap of Cry for Justice.
Mm-hmm.
And, Arsenal has his arm, like he's supposed to. And, he's a much more interesting character now than he was getting to be towards the end of that. And they fleshed out Red Hood. Yeah,
Jason Todd is actually a likable character in this series.
He is. And I wouldn't have thought it possible, because I'm one of the people that voted for that little snot that died.
I did
too.
Back in the day. And now he is actually a likable character that I enjoy reading, that I can get behind. Actually, what they did is they pulled a Daredevil on him. They gave him this interesting inner monologue that fleshed him out as a person so much. And then they fleshed out kind of the areas after his supposed resurrection.
Right.
Well, I guess not supposed it happened, but his resurrection, and how he, how I guess he matured more after his death than he did ever before his death. So, it's really good, and it is really kind of odd, the relationship between the three of them. I mean,
right.
Starfire tends to sleep with whoever's closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And forget about it and sleep with the other one later. So, I mean, for a DC, obviously no longer Comic Code approved, but for a DC book that at least tries to stay relatively PG, they have an interesting dynamic, definitely.
Yeah. One of the ladies' men of the DC universe, which I have to give a shout out to too, would be Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern series. Robert Venditti, after he picked up after Johns left, that was such, as good as Johns was, I felt towards the end it was getting stale, and I think Venditti just breathed so much life back into that series, and it's just it became the Rainbow Corps. And became this big, huge story that had to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger until we got to the first Lantern. And Venditti came in and brought it back down to just this basic human interest story about the individual Lanterns and made it so much more relatable, I thought. So I love what's going on in Green Lantern, too. And again, it's some of the best Green Lantern I've read in a long time. And I love the whole Rainbow War and everything. But
wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know how I feel about Green Lantern right now, I'm sure.
No, I actually don't.
Oh, you don't? I
not either. What's going on?
I don't really care for... okay, I'll take that back. The last couple of issues of both Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps I've actually liked, but the current story going on, I've kind of felt like he's doesn't really know what he's doing with the characters, honestly. I just have not enjoyed it at all. I also think it's interesting because, since we're talking about couples and love and everything, I think it's interesting that Carol right now is kind of crushing on Kyle instead of Hal.
Yeah.
So
taking some old dynamics.
That makes more sense, actually.
New directions, yeah.
Yeah, it does make more sense, but at the same time, it's weird the way, I don't know. I don't even want to go into New Guardians because I can't stand that book.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, me either. But, her and Hal's relationship has got easily been one of the most tempestuous / abusive relationships ever.
True.
I mean, more often than not, she's trying to kill him.
Yeah, true.
Whether she be mind-controlled or not.
Chuck,
Daredevil Batman.
Yeah, Chuck, I have
exactly.
to ask you though. Do you like the whole now the Green Lantern Corps is this big police force? They're trying to police other ring bearers not to use their rings, and Hal's the way he's handling the whole leadership.
Yeah, I kind of find it fascinating, and it harkens back to the origins of the early Corps in old DC. They were a lot more regimented, a lot more police-like, and the fact that they would come back and kind of enforce that within their own ranks or within the other rings, it heralds back to an older an older Green Lantern that I kind of dig. It felt like we had to be so freaking event-driven under Johns. It just had to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I felt like, I certainly felt with the first Lantern, it went too far. It got to a point where it just was so attempting to be epic that it lost all character within the series.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
And I couldn't have got much more epic.
I know, and I quite honestly totally disliked the whole first Lantern thing. I thought it was really hollow.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. I did love his final issue, issue 20.
It was good. It was good. The way he just tried to wrap it all up. And,
wrapped up 10 years worth of stories.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, I agree with some of that. I don't know. I don't like the way Hal is portrayed right now. Of course, granted, I've never been a huge Hal fan. I've always been a Kyle fan.
Yeah.
So it's,
Well, Kyle has always been the heart of Green Lantern, in my opinion. Hal's always been a dick.
Okay.
He really has been. He's the slight egomaniac. He's the heroic, I'm going to do anything. I'm going to blast through. I don't care. I'm not going to, when all else fails, I'm going to use might and power to burst through. He's never been a likable character to me.
He doesn't know who he is.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe where I differ then is because my introduction to Green Lantern comics was Jeff Johns' run.
Okay.
So I didn't read anything previous to that because I was all Marvel.
Yeah.
So, maybe that's why I'm not really digging this version now then.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not reading it, obviously, but I find it incredibly hard. I mean, I understand them policing the yellow, the red, and LaFreze or whatever. Mm-hmm. Or doing whatever with LaFreze because he's ridiculous. But...
and who thought giving him his own series would be...
Yeah, that's so dumb. But anyway, I find, I guess I'm okay with them policing them, but I kind of feel myself going, how dare you try to police the blue and the purple and the pink? Yeah. The blue and purple and pink, the pink, off and on. But the blue and the purple definitely have always been the more heroic.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert, all the blue are dead except for one. So.
Oh, well, there you go.
really policing
like I said, I haven't been keeping up. But which one's left alive, the elephant or St. John?
St. Walker.
Or St. Walker,
yeah. He's the only one left.
St. John.
I
like that, of course. But we do have to address the elephant in the room here, and that is Marvel Comics. And we can't, I hear poor Bill has gone silent in the background because he's waiting for us to move over to Marvel. Am I wrong here, Bill?
No, you're not wrong. Not only Marvel, but something that came up before 2013.
Okay. Well, I got
you. My love affair at comics is Bronze Age Marvel, and
well, how about? Okay, Brandon, where are we? I'm sorry. I'm derailing. I don't want to derail.
No, that's fine.
You're there. Go for it.
Yeah, go.
Okay, cool. So, going back to that era, Bill, the quintessential relationship, Marvel Comics, the big love affair, is it Scott and Jean or is it Logan and Jean?
The one I would rather see is Logan and Jean. But
Amen,
the
brother.
love affair for Marvel, for me, will always be Shang-Chi and Mickey Wu.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
Nice. Very nice. Okay.
It comes complete with a Fleetwood Mac soundtrack.
I would have said Doctor Strange and Wong, but that's different. No, I'm kidding.
There's a lot of great love affairs during that age. And one of the most noteworthy one is Danny Rand and Misty Knight. If you're looking at the 70s and you had an interracial couple. Yeah. And it's pushing the envelope to a really large degree at that time. Doctor Strange and Clea is another great one.
Yeah, that was
Tony Stark and Bethany McCabe is another great one. So.
Yeah. Even today, I prefer Danny Rand with Misty Knight.
Oh,
they tried to do that recently.
Yeah.
It fell apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Ben Grimm and Alyssa Masters. Who can forget those two? That's a great couple, too. Really well played.
So, how about you guys? What would be the big love affair of all time from Marvel Universe for you two, if we're talking Valentine's Day?
Well, honestly, I'd have to say Peter Parker and Mary Jane, even though I always would have preferred him to stay with Gwen.
Oh, nice.
But still, Mary Jane and Peter Parker is kind of the seminal relationship for Marvel for me.
I have to say, I mean, I came into I never was in the early days when I was really young. I mean, I would read Spider-Man off and on, but right about that time period when they introduced the Black Cat was some of the first time that I read Amazing Spider-Man back in that classic era.
Yeah.
And I remember that kind of, for lack of a better pun, cat and mouse affair that they seemed to have with each other. And that was so playfully fun that has still become one of my favorite relationships that Peter had for a little while. Even though it never went anywhere, it was just so much of a tease that it was almost a moonlighting within the Amazing Spider-Man series.
I totally agree with that. And they even played with that in the 90s animated series. Yeah, she popped up every once in a while, and it was that same kind of flirty, teasy thing. And
I dug it. She was cool. She was almost groundbreaking a little bit in kind of her sensuality in comics at that time period. But,
right.
Yeah.
Great character.
Yeah.
Great relationship.
What about
John?
you, John?
Wish couples.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to avoid the obvious ones. Although it was always nice to see Sue dangle Namor in front of Reed every now and then, kind of wake him up and go, hey, you've got a wife over here, look.
Yeah.
Fishy guy in his underwear wants me really bad. But,
Who's up for sushi?
I guess I'm going to have to... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, that's a sushi, but I'm going to have to go Kitty and Cyclops crap.
Wow,
Colossus.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that's a whole different one now. Chicka meow meow. But no, Kitty and Colossus because
that's a good one.
Actually, it's because it was such a chaste sort of, he's this kind of naive guy from Russia, and she's 12, and it was just. It wasn't this, overtly sexual relationship or anything like that. It was, just kind of very nice and loving and all that. And, until much later on where she kind of jumped him a few times. But other than that, I mean, on the opposite end of the spectrum would have to be like Daredevil and Elektra.
Yeah.
And to a lesser extent, Daredevil and Black Widow. But Daredevil and Elektra, really.
This is more recent, and it probably stemmed out of the movies a little bit, but I really like Kitty Pryde with Bobby, with Iceman.
Really?
Yeah, it has been fun in some of the more recent, especially when they first started trying to date.
Mm-hmm.
It was cute, and there was they kept having things happen that derailed it or gave Kitty the upper hand. I like her as a full professor at the Xavier Academy too. I think she's awesome.
Yeah, I did like that. I don't go in for a lot of Marvel stuff lately, but Wolverine the X-Men I really did like.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like about what they're doing now is that she went over to Cyclops' side like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, no one would believe that. That's a big mess up. She'd always follow Wolverine no matter what. Mm-hmm. Because of the whole ninja Japanese thing.
What we think of what, Bill?
Possibly one of the worst couples.
Worst couples.
Wait, can I drop one good couple in before we go to worst?
Sure.
Just real quick. One that I don't think gets enough attention in the history of comics, but I absolutely loved when I was young, was Wolfman and Perez's early run on Teen Titans, when there was that torrid little infatuation, love affair back and forth between Kid Flash and Raven, right about the early Trigon introduction.
Right.
I thought that was just a phenomenal little moment in comics that doesn't get enough memory.
Not even torrid, really.
Yeah.
Kid Flash going, I want you, Raven going, no, I'm above all that.
But she kind of played into it a little bit. There was that tease that it might happen, and it was a little bit of back and forth. Sorry, okay, worst. Let's go to worst.
Well,
Then she couldn't turn it off.
Real quick,
Once he got fired up.
Sorry. I just want to toss one more in that I really liked from when I was growing up was Justice and Firestar from New Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great couple.
Yeah.
It's a shame they're no longer together.
Yeah, I know. They've kind of de-aged Justice. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chuck. Sorry.
No. I'm sorry. I was agreeing with you.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, so worst couples?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to think about that. Somebody else go.
I'll kick it off with Matt Murdock and Mila Donovan. When
that was just
just
bad
idea
writing.
that the only way that Matt Murdock would be happy is picking up with a blind woman with no superpowers after he's already been with Typhoid Mary and Elektra and Black Widow and Echo. That was really good.
Not just that, but drawn to look almost old enough to be his mother.
Oh, God.
I know, honestly. I mean, look at her. She looks like... The way that she was portrayed was almost as like this older woman. Not an elderly woman, but definitely a woman in her midlife.
Yes.
And they don't portray Daredevil like that at all. You know, they portray him as, in his 30s. They're portraying her as in her 50s or 60s, It just didn't fit.
Yeah.
Supposed to be a role model because he's blind and she's independent and she doesn't need help, but she always needs help. Good.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, she got more trouble than Alicia did.
Yes.
She had to be saved more than Alicia Masters did. She had to be saved more than Lois Lane did. I mean, come on, it's crazy.
Finally, she just went insane and they hauled her off to the nutty hatch. We don't see her much. So this is cool. So.
Yep, he doesn't even go visit anymore.
I got one.
Okay.
It harkens back to one of my personal favorite funny moments on Zone 4, and that was when I first brought up the floppy bits. But Aunt May and Doc Ock.
Oh.
Oh, God,
as one of the creepiest combinations. And even more creepy when Doc Ock took over Peter Parker and started sharing with Peter his imagery of how he saw his mother when they were trapped in their head together.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, when Peter had to see himself in a way kissing his mother, and it just was this weird thing that was going on in Doc Ock's head at that time. And so.
Yeah,
actually, one that I always thought was strange, but it's a beloved couple. But I always thought it was just a terrible match. It's Vision and Scarlet Witch.
And the fact that they somehow managed to still have kids.
And they still have kids.
That didn't really exist.
Exactly.
But now they do.
But they do.
Yeah.
But no, I just always thought they were a horrible match.
And I have no idea how, in the convoluted history of X-Men comics, we haven't had at least one Summers sleeping with another Summers. If they keep their own family history straight, they're doing better than I am.
Yeah. It's true.
Right.
I don't know. I can't think of any.
Well, I'll throw one out there. She-Hulk and Wyatt Wingfoot. Here's one.
Who now?
Yeah.
Wyatt Wingfoot.
She-Hulk and Wyatt Wingfoot. Terrible match. What was?
He was a little bit of a butt kicker, though. I mean,
a little
not
bit
on her league at all, but still a little bit.
Yeah.
How do you go from Hercules to Wyatt Wingfoot?
I don't know. For some reason, I'm drawing a blank on bad relationships. I don't know what's going on.
Well, how do you feel about Superman and Wonder Woman?
Boo.
Oh,
a little gemstone out there.
In the New 52 version of Superman, it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
The classic version of Superman always should be with Lois Lane or Lana Lang. Give or take your preference, but
L'Oreal the Mermaid.
Yeah.
But I mean, his character in the New 52 makes sense with Wonder Woman, whether you like it or not. It just does. It makes sense. So I don't mind it.
Batman and Catwoman, ultimately good or ultimately bad for comics?
Ultimately good.
I have always liked that relationship.
I do too. Yeah.
It's good for the comics. It's good for the movies.
Yeah.
It's good in every way possible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
You should go out there and make a Huntress.
Yeah. I tell you, Harry Osborn and Mary Jane, I hated that.
Even more disgusting, Norman Osborn and the Gwen Stacy.
See, I try to wipe that from my memory, John.
No, it's there. It's there.
It's
burning in your brain.
Now I won't be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, that's
then my work here
wrong.
is done.
So wrong. That's got to be the absolute worst for me right there.
I just want to know why Squirrel... Sorry.
What's that?
What is it?
I just want to know why Squirrel Girl can't get a date. That's all I care about.
Hey, prehensile tail. Don't knock it.
Don't knock it.
How about
Watch out
couples
for
never
the
got
teeth,
together?
but
You
other
guys
than
wanted to
that,
see
no.
together.
Never got together that we want to see together?
Yeah,
Ooh.
a couple that you wanted to see all the time in comics, but never got together.
Oh.
Well, actually, they got together, kind of, but Hawkeye always had a huge thing for Scarlet Witch. Before she was all over Vision. I mean, they got together for a minute when she was supposedly amnesiac in the Maldives or wherever the hell she was supposed to be. You know.
You know, I kind of liked. I mean, they did hook up, but I kind of liked Hawkeye with Wasp.
Yes, but that wasn't they
Actually,
did get together.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I actually like Tony Stark with Wasp.
They
You know, they
I
hooked
like
up
that, too.
a couple of times, but then as soon as she found out he was Iron Man, she ran away.
Right. The one that I thought they were going to get together, and they didn't, but I thought Brie Baker was hitting on it for a while, was when Steve Rogers was supposed to be dead. Sharon Carter and Sam Wilson got very, very close.
Oh, yeah.
Ah,
I
gotcha.
was like, oh, I thought this might happen here, but another one I always wanted to see, seeing how she has a pitch in for really smart guys in armor. I would like to have seen Madame Mask and Doctor Doom for more than one reason. I think that'd be a really cool matchup.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Now, there's a messed up couple, Madame Mask and the Hood. I mean, the Hood's the lame character to begin with. But why would Whitney Frost go with him for any reason?
It doesn't make sense at all. That's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, your
The Hood
father's
was only
Count
good when it was
Nefaria,
written by
first off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Brian K. Vaughan should find Bendis and just kick him in the nuts when
Yeah.
he's done with that character.
This was a pre-New 52, and they kind of teased that a little bit. But Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown, Robin and
Yeah, no, I
Batgirl.
kind of get the feeling
Yeah.
they did get together.
Did they get together? I think
They were
were really a couple in the
dating,
real-
you know.
I was thinking they were kind of close to getting there when they did the whole relaunch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They were really a couple before the relaunch. You know, he was dating her when she was pregnant with another dude's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe I missed some there.
You probably blocked that out of your memory.
One that was kind of a tease and was kind of weird through the years was Wonder Woman and Scarlet Witch, and of course here recently the two of them did hook up.
Wonder Man.
Wonder Woman and Scarlet Witch.
Sorry,
I'm in very much in favor of Scarlet Witch and Wonder Woman. I think that was,
Actually, yeah.
Wonder Man and Scarlet Witch. Yeah.
Actually, no, Scarlet Witch and Zatanna, Wonder Woman and Power Girl. Let's be honest here.
But no, I mean, in recent issues, I mean, Scarlet Witch did take Wonder Man as a lover recently,
Right.
so
Yeah.
right before he died, or supposedly
Yeah.
spread his atoms throughout the
You
universe.
dissipate.
Yeah, he dissipates.
what about Wonder Woman and Batman? That was hinted at a couple times.
Yeah.
That made perfect sense to me.
I think that was awesome. I think
Yeah.
that was a really good possibility.
I can see personality-wise, but I don't know. I just never saw that really.
That's something that I think sprang out of the cartoons because she was always overprotective of Bruce in the cartoons.
Yeah, that's
Well,
true.
My thing was always she's not impressed with somebody who can bench press a train.
Right.
You know, she can bench press a train, big whoopee.
Right.
But I think
But someone who has no powers that can beat up a guy that can best Prince of Train.
exactly, or someone that's smart enough to stand toe to toe with the people that they have to stand up with. You know, to look Darkseid in the eye and not be afraid.
Yeah,
You know, that's somebody.
Pepper.
Right, that's somebody in Amazon would be drawn to. That's a warrior.
Yeah.
You know, Superman's not necessarily a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of uses his powers when he has to. He doesn't go looking for a fight, but he'll take it if it comes. Batman
See
will
what
kick
happens
your
to
ass
Superman when he
for not
loses his
telling
power.
him.
He gets a crap kicked out of him by the guy from Harry and Kumar. You know,
Yeah, well, yeah, there is that.
And I'll agree with that, except for in the New 52, I think Superman is a little bit more aggressive. So.
He forgot his underwear somewhere.
Yeah.
How about what's been your favorite couple that's been in the films, the superhero films? What's your favorite couple?
Wow.
Ooh, none.
None, zero.
That's tough.
Actually, no. I kind of like the banter, the interaction between Hawkeye and Black Widow.
Okay.
Yeah, that was good. That was
Uh-huh.
good. I agree.
It was.
You know, I mean, it's
Steve
not
Rogers
really
and Peggy Carter.
a physical relationship or anything like that.
Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter was good too.
Yeah.
I like the Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker, and Gwen Stacy.
Very good.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that
And
was.
Tony Stark, Pepper Potts.
And I hated
Yeah.
it.
I know you
John
hate
hated it.
it.
No, I actually. Yeah, I guess. Except for the third movie, I'm good with Tony Stark and Pepper Potts.
Yeah.
I think they really solidified as a couple in Avengers. That's why I like them the best.
Yeah, definitely.
They were cute in Avengers. They really were.
Yeah.
No, I mean, are there any of the Batman side women that were through the series that we liked, that we thought made a good there were so many weak ones, in my opinion.
I like Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Keaton.
Yeah, that's the only one I could think of that was even remotely.
Yeah.
I like Dan Hathaway a
I
lot.
like Anne Hathaway, too.
Yeah, I didn't
just-
maybe so much like Christian Bale, though.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm saying. I didn't like them
Emma's
together.
Club,
Yeah.
it's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
The one I hate the most is Scott Summers, Jean Grey on the big screen. There's no chemistry between those characters.
No. Yeah.
Not at all.
That's supposed to be such a dynamic romance, and it's like,
Yeah.
I leave you for Professor X, dude. You're a fucking lame.
In the movies, you could swear that it was supposed to be Jean Grey and Wolverine in there.
I know.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
I mean, just look at them together.
Yeah.
Once again, Cyclops is a child.
Yeah.
Cyclops is this young boy. Why in the world would
Jean
Famke
Grey,
Janssen be interested in that young boy?
Yeah, it made no sense.
You know, she'd be
Well-
much more interested in Hugh Jackman.
Right. Well, in the X-Men history, Scott Summers played such a large role in the history of the X-Men. You just don't have that in the movies. He's just
No, not at all.
He's a throwaway character in the movie, sadly. Yeah.
Okay, my favorite couple in the movies is easy. It's neither a romantic relationship or an actual relationship, and it doesn't happen on screen. But Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen off screen and their friendship and the photos we see coming out of that friendship is my favorite big screen couple. They are just a trip together.
Dude, there's a whole thing. I forget who put it out. Probably BuzzFeed.
Uh-huh.
Put out.
Oh,
this,
all the photos, like the 40
All the
photos
photos.
of them together. They just have so much fun as friends going out and taking these goofy-ass pictures together. And I know this is way off topic, but it's just, I had to herald that because they are just so much fun together.
Did you know
It's
that
almost
Ian
his
actually
60s.
married Patrick Stewart? I mean,
Yeah, he was the one who
Yeah.
officiated it. That's awesome.
Wow.
That's really cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was the minister who oversaw the ceremony.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they threw out one in the Super Bowl where they're like they're in each of the two jerseys and they're like looking at the football like we don't know what they're doing with the football. It's just they're constantly doing these things
They
together.
had a soccer ball because that's what.
Oh,
how they
soccer
see
ball.
Football.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. That's
soccer,
right.
football,
Yeah. That's
And
right.
I thought that was a fake photo at first. I was like, oh, look what they did here, but it turned out to be real. So, it was
Wow.
true.
Pretty cool. All right, so does anybody have any secret comic book crushes?
Oh, for me, early days, absolutely, without question, Kitty Pryde.
Okay.
I was at that age when Claremont was doing the X-Men, and that was just, her, and like John was heralding earlier, that kind of goofy, just discovering your first girlfriend, boyfriend kind of thing between her and Colossus. I mean, that John Byrne run on X-Men. I was a little older by that point, but still, it took me back to like high school crushes in a lot of ways. So,
Okay.
yeah.
John?
I've always.
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
Let John go. Let John go.
Okay, I mean, you can just look at the area above my computer here and see what my crush is. Zatanna. It's always been Zatanna.
It's always been the fishnets.
It's always been it's Zatanna and anything really. She's always kind of been my character because I mean, as much as I like Kitty, she was always drawn as such a kid. But Zatanna, she she kind of had the sexy thing going, plus the magic thing, and you know, even though her power should be like ultimately the most powerful in the entire DC universe, she's not. She ends up having to get saved a whole lot. So, you know, part of me kind of liked that too for some reason. So, yeah, it's she was always a huge crush. Gosh, to a lesser extent, I guess. It's always kind of been DC for me, obviously, because I've always kind of been a DC head. But to a lesser extent for me, probably Wonder Girl. Not so much Wonder Woman, but Wonder Girl.
Now, which one? Donna Troy?
Oh,
or?
Donna Troy.
Okay.
Donna Troy. There's always, you know.
Because that one kind of scares me, John, because Al...
No. Cassandra Steve, yeah. I was an adult by the time that happened. Come on.
I've always had a thing for crazy women with no panties, so I have to go with the Scarlet Witch.
Okay, it was a no-brainer.
All she was wearing was the...
Yeah, it was a no-brainer what you were going to pick, though.
Yeah.
Read New Comic Day, folks. The early years.
Do we have to?
Yeah, it's funny. I never liked Zatanna as a character, by the way.
No,
blaspheme.
I know. I'm sorry.
How dare you?
I have to say my first. You guys are gonna laugh, but Betty and Veronica. Both of them, actually. I was just like Archie. Put myself in
Just like Archie.
But no. In as far as superhero comics go, honestly, consider that I was 13 in 1990. So Psylocke.
You got to qualify it.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know.
Please qualify.
I was just showing the different age bracket I was in. But Psylocke from Jim Lee's Chris Claremont, Jim Lee's X-Men.
You know, if you want to go pure sexy, the one that I was like, I can't believe they're allowed to do that in comics was the very early George Perez Starfire. In the early Wolfman Titans, I was like, oh my lord.
Yeah,
even before you ever saw Vampirella,
Yeah.
And if I have a second choice, I guess it's like creator specific, kind of like Brett said with Cyclops and Jim Lee. It'd have to be not Spider-Woman, but Jessica Drew during that Chris Claremont run with Steve Little. She was uber sexy in that.
Yeah.
Psylocke didn't start doing it for me until she became Asian.
Well, yeah, she was Asian in Jim Lee's.
Right.
Oh, in the Jim Lee one. Okay,
yeah, the Jim Lee one. Yeah,
when she was straight up British Captain Britain's sister, she looked very attractive.
Yeah, with purple hair, didn't so much do it for me. But
no, the
I
Asian
can see the Jim Lee swimsuit and
exactly, yeah.
Large number
for
of
13,
bands for no purpose.
14-year-old, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah, that could help a 14-year-old. Yeah,
but the second would be Firestar again. You know, I always kind of had a crush on her. So.
Nothing wrong with that. Angelica is hot, no pun intended.
Absolutely.
Well, if they had ever drawn Vixen the way they ended up drawing her in the later Justice League, I mean, if they had done her that way back in the Detroit days, I think she would have ended up being a much more popular character. You know, having that, you know, her little zipper front zipped down all the way down to her navel the way they did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I'm looking at an action figure for it right now, and I mean, this thing is almost pornographic. So it's like, what the heck? You know, waiting for a wardrobe malfunction there.
I do have to put out a warning right now that we are officially leaving Valentine's Day and entering creepy. So just for the record, just so everybody's on the same page here.
See, that's why I gave you two examples. Psylocke for, you know, the obvious. Firestar for me, it was more the personality because she was just down to earth. Well, yeah, but she was a down to earth kind of, you know, she was the adult of, she was kind of the mother hen of the New Warriors, kind of.
Yeah. And, Namorita, though. Namorita, you know, you don't like her?
She always seemed like a kid to me, too, though.
Really?
You know, I had a hard time embracing her as sexy.
I don't know, back
always
in the Burn Alpha Flight era, she was pretty cute.
You know, at that point, if I had to pick an Alpha Flight character, at that point I would have gone for, like, Snowbird. I guess.
Snowbird, yeah.
Oddly,
she's crazy.
Oddly, I like.
I like crazy girls.
Oddly, I liked Namorita better when she became blue and became Chimera. Don't know why.
That's your old Smurf fetish.
I guess that's what it is. No, she's just more interesting as a character, though.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to have to wrap it up. This
Okay.
leaving Valentine's Day for me, and I'm getting ready to head for bedtime day.
Enjoy, my friend. We will carry on, I think, for a little while here.
Yeah, for a few more minutes, yeah.
Before you leave, hype your stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, guess what? I don't really have anything I really want to hype. I mean,
how rude.
joining
Get out
this
of here.
person that's not on an agenda or a schedule right now, so it's pretty cool.
Cool. Enjoy yourself, man. That's awesome. And
there
Bill,
are books
always,
now.
always, my friend, good to have a chance to chat with you, and I'm proud to have you on my wall here at the house.
Oh, man, that was a great photo, and I remember the day. It was a great day. So it
Yeah.
was really cool.
It was a great day, yeah.
Guys.
Yep.
So.
Thanks as always, Bill. We'll have you on again soon.
And thanks for having me on here. I'm looking forward to talking to you and John again sometime in the near future, and Chuck, hopefully you too. If nothing, see us at Derby City.
I'm on Zone 4 every 7 weeks now, so there you go.
All right, we'll have to do this again.
Almost like clockwork.
Yeah.
Exactly. Next time I'll try to stay up a little later.
All right.
All right.
Take care, Bill.
Take care, gentlemen.
All right,
Bye-bye.
All right.
Where are we now, guys?
Okay, this is the one that you were interested in, Chuck. This,
Oh, Lord.
How have comics affected your personal love life?
Oh, my goodness. Somebody else want to start?
In brown cow.
Go ahead, John. You started.
They got me laid a couple of times,
Wow.
but other than that,
Really?
Actually, yeah.
You just made fanboys across the world perk up and be like, really? That's awesome.
Actually, the X-Men got me laid twice. But anyway, I do have a slightly cleaner story. And it's actually not how comics affected my life, but affected someone else's. My wife, Kim, never really into comics, prior to being with me. She's more of a sci-fi person and stuff like that. But slowly, over the years of having to be beaten over the head with all this stuff and dragged to umpteen conventions and stuff like that, she started to more embrace the idea of comics, the interest of comics, as I mentioned on here before, and as I'll mention again in a minute. She's thrown together her own con to support her charity. So, yeah, comics in that way have kind of affected her life. Other than the sex, they really haven't done anything for mine.
Okay, Chuck.
I think comics have proven to me, more than anything else, that in a relationship you have to have a partner that supports what you're doing. And I've tried to do comics with partners that weren't into what I was into and didn't understand it and didn't understand the time that I gave to it or why I was so devoted to this art form and this part of American narrative. And, I've had a partner who embraces and supports me in the things I want to do. So I think the way it's redefined what I look for in another individual, and it showed me some key things about human relationships in a lot of ways that you do have. I mean, opposites, you can say opposites attract, but I think in a lot of ways you've got to have a basis to be able to talk about things and to share some interests. And also, my current partner in life, I basically met as going to a con that I was trying to grow how CR covered other things in the world of genre. So I met my partner in life through CR in a way. I mean, I went to a con and met somebody who's now living with me. So that tells the fanboys out there it is possible. So there you go.
The genre look died, but the one thing that there you go.
Exactly. But I mean, we share a lot of interests, and comics are certainly one of them. And I think that is important. I think if you are having to argue with the person in your life over how much money you spend on comics or how much time you spend, or if you want to do a podcast or do a website or something like that, then sometimes that's price of admission for a relationship, and sometimes it's price time to leave. So I certainly, over the course of this, you guys have seen me through a few relationships and through a few changes in my life, and here I am today. And but I think the one thing that has stayed constant through all that, through all these years, has been comics. So,
cool.
Yeah, right or wrong, we'll see. I don't know. I felt like I'd have a funnier story than that, but I guess I don't. I don't know. How about you, Brant?
I got nothing. No,
Come on, Brent. Tell us about your comics love life.
See, that's the thing. I mean, I don't even know.
Comics have destroyed your life.
No. It's never really come up though. I mean, it's. I don't want to bring this on my down note.
You set the show schedule.
I didn't suggest the topics, but whatever. No, I mean, I have been single for a long time, so the only relationship that I recall that it ever got to the point where comics played a part. It was all I got was encouragement. So. Of course, I was really young, and at the time I was drawing. I wasn't really writing. I was drawing my own comics and stuff like that, and I was sharing that with her. And she was really supportive and encouraging of me to follow my dreams or whatever. So, for me, it's always been a positive thing, I guess.
Cool. Yeah. So I guess the takeaway message.
There you go, ladies.
Yeah, I was going to say, the takeaway message there is all you single ladies out there, we got a Brant Fowler for you.
I was about to say,
Listen to those dulcet tones.
If you want to be with a guy, a comics professional who spends way too much time podcasting, then we got the dude for you.
Anyway. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
I got you, Google Hangouts.
Yeah, really.
Good Lord.
We'll give you that.
I was afraid this was going to go here.
Just show up at his door. He'll like that.
So what's the next topic on the agenda?
That's all we got.
Next topic is get me the hell out of here. By Brent Feller.
He's trapped.
Oh Lord.
I mean, it's interesting. I don't think of Valentine's Day as a big, massive comic holiday. I mean, certainly there's been romances in and out of comics, but it's an action-driven media. Or when you get into more of the slice of life, kind of art-lit side of comics, then you're getting bigger narratives. It's never been so driven by a papier-mâché holiday like that. So.
Yeah,
it's hard to put it in a pigeonhole like we're trying to do here.
Yeah, and there's no such thing as romance comics these days.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
Well,
these days, but Strangers in Paradise.
Stuff on
the romance comic.
Yeah, there's some out there. I mean, definitely, but it's not like at one point in time, many years ago, there was a complete separate genre.
Right.
So, right. But yeah, that's far gone. But.
Mm-hmm.
Will Bob ever love me? Or should I throw myself over the bridge?
Or like I think still in the paper we get here, there's that Rex Morgan MD comic strip in there. That's about the closest thing. But,
or you can go totally creepy and go for the Dark Horse series that picked up right after the first Star Wars movie, before the second Star Wars movie, when Leia still doesn't know that she's related to Luke, and they're trying to still tell stories in that realm.
Wow.
Yeah, I had this story all planned out from the beginning. Liar.
Oh shoot! I don't know. I think if like you said, Chuck, if you're going to be with somebody, they have to be supportive of your goals and you of theirs, and meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
That's my.
I think in mainstream comics, some of the more touching stories I've seen have actually been where Marvel and to a lesser extent DC have tried to reach out to the LGBT community. Some of the same sex stories, especially I think Astonishing X-Men, is it Marjorie Liu's stuff she was doing in there, where she was kind of working with North Star a little bit and his partner. Some of that has been a more honest treatment of relationships than we've seen in kind of the more hit and miss attempts that, where we throw somebody together for a week and tear them apart just to see what the story will do. There have been some strong representations in there, until they murdered it, Batwoman certainly. There's been a lot of things that romance is not dead. It's just they don't allow it time to mature.
It's just on life support.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of stuff, a lot of odd relationships get the focus, like Scott Summers and Emma Frost.
Yeah.
Stuff like that gets the focus, where it's kind of out there and not really.
Yeah, it's
your typical.
Not even. Yeah. It's not even that it's out there. It's just. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of thinking that you fought this woman for all these years. She tried to kill not only you, but every member of your team at one time or another. And, just because she's the only other of-age telepath in town, you immediately go to her?
See, I think though that from a deeper psychological perspective, I think they were once again catering to the fanboy. It is taking the fanboy and giving him the bad girl. If you make Scott this anybody can be Scott character, where you put yourself in Cyclops when you're reading the story, suddenly you've got the love affair with the great, legendary love of your life, and you still get to have the bad girl. It's playing to the crowd a little bit. I think
it was Grant Morrison. That's all that really needs to be said.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I can see the reasoning. I just, it goes against character for me.
Yeah, I did. Everything they've done with Cyclops in the last few years.
Well, yeah.
I agree with that, but at the same time, even though I don't like how he got there, I actually do like Scott with Emma. I think they fit.
Oh, well, yeah.
I think their personalities mesh, and it makes Scott a more interesting character.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he was never that interesting to begin with.
Exactly, that's my point.
Yeah.
But, I just didn't like the way that they got him to this point, so.
Yeah. Playing with old stereotypes, I also enjoyed whichever X-Men book it is that has the original X-Men thrown into the present.
All new X-Men.
All new X-Men, thank you. I do like the playfulness of how Beast and Marvel Girl have kind of been getting together a little bit. It's kind of funny how you were thinking that all those years? And,
Yeah.
Everything they've been doing in that, where the old X-Men are kind of meshing with the new and figuring out things they shouldn't know, has just been beautiful.
It's a series that you think is going to be absolutely stupid, make no sense, and there's no reason for it, and it actually surprises you.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Really good. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too.
Yeah. One I got to give a shout out to that ended 4 or 5 months back, but I really did enjoy, and I have to admit it, Avengers Arena.
Oh, I love that series.
Every last issue of that was just, it held your attention, it was gripping, and it ended well, I thought. It left a good foundation for future series, and, to translate the Hunger Games, essentially, into the teen superhero crowd of the Marvel Universe, and make it that viscerally punch you in the face each issue, I thought it was really well done. It surprised me.
Yeah, me too. It was a favorite of mine. I loved it. I championed it. It was really good. And then, going back to all new X-Men, they're, tying in X-23 from that.
Yeah.
She's in the current issue, so.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I'm catching up as quick as I can. Yeah. I just made it through the whole Infinity thing, so I'm now post-Infinity, so I'm getting close.
Yeah, they're starting up the trial of Jean Grey right now.
Okay.
So.
I actually found a list online. Sorry, I'm derailing a little bit here, but I found a chronological list that this one guy put together of every single tie-in to Infinity, even in the more obscure books, and the order in which they could be read, where the story would flow. Forget that bizarre chart that Hickman stuck in the back of the issues, which you can't figure a damn thing out about.
Exactly.
But this guy's list was phenomenal, and that's the way I read it. I read all 52-some issues that tied into Infinity. Every little nuance through every issue, I read everything just to get the whole picture. And I have to say, that was one well-crafted event, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay.
I really liked it. I liked it start to finish. And if you just read Infinity, the 6 issues, you didn't get half of what was happening in the broader universe. And even some of the junk of, like the supervillains fighting to try and get Iron Man's armor, which was kind of a crappy story, but it still had enough little tie-ins to see pieces of how it felt for the first time like something was really rippling through all the Marvel universe in a lot of ways, even though it wasn't. But I dug it, and I don't like to tip a hat to Hickman like that, but certainly I thought it resolved a lot of crap that I thought had been flung around for a long time. So.
Okay. Yeah. See, maybe that was my problem, because I like the. All right. Okay. I read the main Infinity series, and I read New Avengers, and then I think I read.
You got the heart of it then. That was a good chunk of it.
Yeah. And I read some tie-ins. I read like Mighty Avengers and a couple of the other things.
Yeah.
But that was the main stuff I read. I didn't read the Avengers title because I just could not get into that title at all, so I just totally skipped those issues altogether.
Wow. So, okay.
I was lost on parts of it.
Okay.
So for me, Infinity started off strong, fell off completely in the middle, and then ended strong.
Okay, gotcha.
So.
Yeah. I mean, just, my God, some of the big changes that are happening, especially with the Inhumans. I mean, the rebirth of the Inhumans, the way in which, Black Bolt kind of played the whole Marvel Universe through that. There was some big freaking things that were unexpected and I thought just kind of worked. And it certainly, if we've the Terrigen Mists are all over the world now, and they've activated anyone who had Inhuman DNA in them. I mean, we've essentially created a second mutant race and balanced out the mutants within the Marvel Universe in a way. And I find what they're potentially doing with it's kind of fascinating, because we've all, one of the things that Marvel said 2 or 3 years ago at New York Comic Con was there are too many mutants, and then they took away the mutants. Now they kind of brought them back, but that. This could be a way of de-emphasizing mutant versus superhero. The Inhumans could be that missing link narratively to kind of allow these two to tell a broader story of the whole Marvel Universe again. And I kind of like where that may be going.
Yeah, exactly. That was one of the appeals for me when they announced the whole thing. It was like, this could be really interesting, the way it plays out. Yeah. And so far, overall, I think I've enjoyed the way it's kind of going. So
yeah.
We'll see. Did you probably haven't read the new Miss Marvel that came out? I think it came out last week. Yeah.
No. I ran so hard away from the old version of that character. I did not care for it. Yeah. Well,
this is a completely new character.
Is this the one who's dating? Cannonball? Is that the? I saw an image. Is she one of the Smashers from the Imperial Guard?
No.
Oh, okay, sorry. I just saw a passing teaser image, and I thought I had it put together. What's the story with her?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's 2 Miss Marvels. There's Miss Marvel that's Carol Danvers, which I didn't like the last take on her either. And I think she's now going by Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And she's going to be going into space. Miss Marvel now is this teenage girl that is actually turns out to be an Inhuman. She's one of the and she's Muslim. And
cool.
Yeah, and it's really interesting story because they play with her inner conflict, because she was born in Jersey, but she's got this Muslim background, and half her family is really strong into that, and half her family's more American, and she's struggling with her identity throughout this whole thing, and then this whole superpower thing comes into play, and it's really well crafted story. So I was really surprised by it.
Cool. Very cool. No, I look forward to reading it. I'm reading a heck of a lot more Marvel than I am DC right now, and I'm trying to get you. One of the things for coming on Zone 4 is you wanted a list of what all titles we're reading, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But I know that DC is heavily outdoing Marvel. I mean, Marvel's heavily outdoing DC with me right now, and quite honestly, if it wasn't for the Bat books, it would be a landslide victory. Marvel is kind of where I've been really kind of getting my buzz to read mainstream comics lately. But,
yeah, I have to agree with that for me personally. I still read the Green Lantern stuff just because I became such a big fan of it during the Jeff Johns stuff, and I just can't let it go. And like I said, I'm kind of halfway liking the story right now. But, I'll see where it goes.
Cool.
But
cool.
The Bat books I still like, and Aquaman. And beyond that, though, it really, I know I keep saying that all the time, but I struggle really hard to figure out what else from DC I'm actually reading. And I can't think of much beyond those.
Let's see, I would only add to that. I am the standout exception that this is the first time I've returned to Superman in a while. I do actually... As much as I hate to admit it, like the new Constantine series, it's a bastardization of the character I came to love, but I'm
shocked by that.
For what it is, I still enjoy the character. And I've been reading the Justice League books and the Justice League Dark.
Yeah, I am reading those.
Certainly, Swamp Thing, as I talked about earlier. Talon has been another one I really have enjoyed, but that's again part of the Batman universe.
True.
And I can't let go of Teen Titans. I keep praying that's
it's being canceled, right?
No, I didn't. Oh, wow.
Yeah, in April is the last issue. Yeah.
That makes sense. It hasn't been great.
That's right. Rip his heart out.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's one less I got to worry about.
Honestly, Jeff Johns' run on that too. I mean, I don't know. I like him as a writer. I liked his run on Teen Titans, and then it kind of tapered off after that. And with the New 52, I've tried to get into it several times, and I love the characters, I love the team. It's hard because I don't like the direction that they're taking.
Yeah.
But the two Justice League titles, Justice League and JLA, I've been reading those, and Superman and Wonder Woman actually is a really good series.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that, and. What was it? Was it the Batman Superman? I think I liked really well. I thought that had an interesting take on it. Superman Unchained was phenomenal. The first couple issues I read of that so far, but I'm way behind on DC. I mean, I just came out of Forever Evil, so I'm way back on DC. But I'll get there eventually. And then I've got 32 non-Marvel and DC titles that aren't Valiant that I read. So
wow.
I mean,
that's a lot of books.
I know.
Well, that's commitment, man.
That's
like my old commitment to comics. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I was reading everything.
Doctor Who, Lock and Key, Six Gun, Las Vegas, all these different 10 grand. There's just so many that I love. So we'll see. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah. There's some
that's why they're called rapid fire reviews, kids. Because you read too many books.
Exactly.
And I've been reading so many to catch up. I haven't taken time to write about them. That's why they're so rapid fire. The rest of rapid fire, you haven't even seen them coming.
Yeah, they're so rapid you didn't even see them. Yeah, there goes another one. Pew, pew.
Yeah.
Do you guys read anything from Aspen right now?
Not a single book.
Okay.
I'm kind of off and on with Aspen. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I've kind of made a commitment as we're doing a lot of things around CR to start taking some of these preview copies we're getting and take a look at some of these off-brand companies. But my God, I got to get caught up with everything else first.
I know.
But at least once a week, I want to sit down with a couple of indie books. And Aspen still is mid to upper, but some of these creator-owned projects and different things, and start really looking at some of them because I do want to get back out to indie press, which was where I kind of started. But,
yeah, definitely. Aspen, I always love Aspen art. And, some of the books are good. I haven't read too many of the current titles, but when they relaunched the Fathom this last time, those couple issues was really good. And this a mini-series, Trish Out of Water, actually surprised me. It was really good, too.
I haven't caught up with that one yet.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on it too, but I think it may not be ending, but the current arc is definitely ending with issue 5, I think.
Gotcha.
So they got some good stuff.
Yeah. I know. Once I get out of Marvel and DC, I mean, I'm immediately going to catch up on Valiant, and I'll probably catch up with Valiant actually before I get to DC. So.
Yeah. I need to catch up on Valiant too. Yeah. I skipped ahead and read the Archer and Armstrong #0 that just came out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
It was good at telling the backstory of Archer. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, titles like Harbinger there, I just can't get enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
I love Harbinger.
And the new interpretation of Bloodshot, especially as he interacted with the kids, was just phenomenal. So
that's the one series I haven't even really tried yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I really did. I've liked Bloodshot. It's a little bloody around the edges, but pun intended. But he's got a heart in him that the old character didn't have, and I really kind of appreciate that.
Gotcha.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Actually, I may have read the first issue, but yeah.
And there's like, talking about that, there's like 18 other series that when I have time I want to get to.
Yeah.
Like, things like Atomic Robo, Castle Waiting, Elephant Men, catching up on Fables, Goon, good gracious. Yeah, Unwritten. There's so many. The comics are great, man.
Yeah.
I love them. People.
I got so far behind on...
Darn many of them.
Yeah, no, I got so far behind on Unwritten, I started reading Volume 2.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I'm never going to catch up, and they just came out with Volume 2. I might as well dive in.
Well, I'm afraid it's time for me to follow the Gladman into that good night.
Well, I think it's time for us all to follow the Gladman.
Exactly. So we will...
This was fun, man. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, it was a blast having you, man. I'm so glad to have you back. But we will do, real quick, coming out, going on, what do you want to plug, Chuck?
Oh, let's see. Of course, Derby City Comic Con, June 28th and 29th, 2014. Check the website. Guests announcing all the time. You can hear me weekly on 2 podcasts, one being the Charlie Tonic Hour, one being Bottoms Up, both at charlietonic.com. If you're in the Cincinnati area, join me for a tour at tonictours.com and find me writing along with these good gentlemen at comicrelated.com.
Awesome.
You think I might have done that once or twice.
Once or twice,
yeah, amazing there.
John?
Let's see. I have started coloring very slowly and tentatively again. I am coloring a few Ursula pieces for Bill Nichols' Sparta Bay stuff. Thankfully, there's no deadline, so my still recovering arm can do it very slowly. So there's that. And also, our recent visit to the Independent Comic Expo netted quite a bit of interest for my wife's River City Comic Expo. I am pleased to say that Rodney Fike and Hasm Productions has just signed up, not only signed up, but paid for a table at River City Comic Expo already.
Sweet.
And we also have just brokered a deal with Nikki Forte, model, photographer, attractive tattooed lady, who is going to be doing a children's photo booth for us at the River City Comic Expo. And you can bring out the kids, and there'll be hats and stuff, and you can get pictures done by a professional artist. Yes. Chip in on
sorry. While you're talking about Nikki, Nikki will also be joining us at C2E2 doing photo honors for comicrelated.com throughout that show.
Nice.
Yes.
Things that happen when we're
Professional photographer coming on board to get us good photos. So
finally, we won't have to anymore.
Thank you to Decapitated Dan for brokering that deal.
Just sit back at the table and kick back now.
Yeah,
Nikki, go take photos.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all you got, John?
That's it. I don't have much. I have a boring life. So.
All right. For me, real quick, I am lettering a new series from Assailant Comics that will come out soon. It's called Freedom Run, by the same publisher that does Binary Gray and Black of Heart and all that good stuff. And I'm also lettering a webcomic called Agent Solo that should be launching this month sometime. I also designed the website for it, so when it is live, love it, like it, follow it. And
I can become part of it.
Exactly. There you go. And definitely have to mention the official launch of Comic Frontline this week. The live show took place on Tuesday night, February 11th, and you can find it on comicrelated.com, or you can go to Comic Frontline on YouTube and find it there, where you will also find this episode. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, that's pretty much a New Comic Day. I'll plug that because it's weekly and I letter it too, so check that out, please. So, that's all for me.
Oh, one other plug for me. Okay. If anybody is on Twitter and would like to follow me at Charlie Rambles, I would love to have you.
There you go.
I'm really trying to work the Twitter these days.
Nice. So, nice. Yeah. And, of course, if anybody wants to contact me for lettering, at Brent Fowler.
There you go.
On Twitter. Okay, so Chuck, you want to read us out of here?
Oh, yeah. Let me pull up the sheet that you sent me so that I can actually read us out of here. Can I talk long enough to pull it up? And there is the email from Brent. No, that's the wrong email from Brent.
It's pulling my tricks with talking through looking up stuff.
Okay. So,
welcome to the subtle part of our show.
Before we go, we would like to thank our sponsor. Once again, Audible.com. Go to audible.com//Zone 4 Podcast for a free 30-day trial and book download. We'd like to thank the official bands of Zone 4, the Ray Wall Band and Society's Plague that you hear on this and every week of the show. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please send us an email to zone4@comicrelated.com. We are also a proud member of the Comic Podcast Network. As always, thanks for listening. You are now leaving Zone 4.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Cheers.
Hasta la Vega.
'Cause here he comes, the amazing Spider-Man. Four-color wetsuit roof jacket, red sweet Spider-Man.
Hold on. Gotta get my earheads in. I'm here, I swear. My earbuds are all wrapped around the mic. Okay, now, can you guys hear me?
Got you comfortable, didn't you?
No, of course. I was eating my Pringles. I got some Pringles here. Oh, I left my beer on the other side. Let me grab it. There we go. Okay.
Don't say you can't have that.
No. Oh, man. Yay! I won't be eating when we were podcasting.
I'll try not to.
I'm just having a chip or two here real fast.
I'm having a sandwich and fries.
And don't be me, I ate before the podcast.
I did too. It's not stopping me.
I would have if I had food here at the time.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Cheers.
Half of us got our mouths full of stuff, so don't mind us.
Nothing.
And that's not like a gay thing, right?
No. I just now got my supper, so that's...
It so very much is. So very much.
Well, Chuck did say he was coming out on the podcast, so, you know.
When you said in the show notes we had to come out, I'm like, I'm not comfortable with that. No. I'm not willing to talk
at that, too. Like, you were coming out and going on. I was like, what is he doing?
I know.
So, Bill, you didn't like my headlines?
I have some problems with the first one. But
I'm sure you do. Oh, okay. And the only reason I included it is because John told me to.
Oh, John's the culprit.
Well, I figured if nothing else, you could do a little, history lesson.
A little Billism.
A little Billism about it.
Shang-Chi thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know which one was the first one. I was about to go to the emails, but now I don't have to.
Let me take one more bite and swallow that.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me get another Pringles in. We're taking bites here.
Would you like to run to the store while they're doing that, Bill? This may take a while.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, these mics really pick up a lot.
Hey, you got a little on your chin. Right.
No, thank you.
That's what she said. Sorry.
This is not Rain Man. This is Zone 4.
Oh, so that means that's what she thought.
There we
Said?
go.
Is that what the difference
There you
is?
go.
I think so. Yes. Yeah. There you
There
go.
are just curse words in it?
Thank you.
Hey, anytime. I'm here all week. Feel up your waiter.
You're here every week.
Don't remind me.
And welcome back to The Zone. I'm Brent Fowler.
I'm John Wilson.
I'm Chuck Moore.
And I'm Bill Gladman.
Do you want to try that again with the order? Now we know the order.
We did know the order if you'd read the agenda.
Oh, that's right. I see there was an order there. Okay, I got you. Sorry. Okay, one more time. I'm with you this time. Yeah.
That's why I have to say this to somebody every single episode.
I got to sit right in front of me is the funny thing, too. Looking right at it.
Okay, one more time.
This has been a Gonzo Goose production. Honk!